Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live in-person and live Zoom worship service of the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside. Our opening hymn this morning is "Spring Now Has Unwrapped the Flowers," and you'll recognize this familiar tune as the Christmas carol "Good King Wenceslas." Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves, but please only with a mask on. So we can now sing with a mask on. Please stand in body and spirit and join us singing "Spring Has Now Unwrapped the Flowers."
Spring has now unwrapped the flowers, day is fast reviving, life in all her growing powers, towards the light is striving. Good the iron touch of cold, winter time and frost time, seedlings working through the mold, will make up for lost time. All the world with beauty fills, gold the green enhancing, flowers make merry on the hills, set the meadows dancing. Earth puts on her dress of glee, flowers and grasses hide her, going forth in charity, one and all beside her.
Thank you for joining us in person, and thank you for joining us remotely by Zoom, where we'll continue this live streaming and posting these services on our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. I'm Steve Fuji, a member of the Worship Committee and also of the Board of Trustees of this church. And other members of the Worship Committee you'll hear from include Alec Peck, who was leading you in singing our hymn. We welcome you to join us this morning with an open mind and an open heart, and with muted electronic devices, please. We invite you to leave your worries and defenses at the door and trust that what happens in worship is inspiring and powerful. Together, we affirm that this day and our being together can make each of us a braver, more compassionate, and wiser as we begin a new day and a new week. Although our doors are open, the pandemic is not over. So while we are here, please be aware and socially distance. I invite you to sit back and take a slow, deep breath as we move into our worship hour. For a call to worship, you're welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. We have two lightings of the sacred flames. The first is the occupied Indigenous Peoples Remembrance Candle. The second is the lighting of our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. We walk upon the traditional territories of diverse and sovereign peoples, the original peoples of this land, who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. The spot we occupy was first the sacred space of several groups of indigenous peoples, including the Cahuilla and the Cupeño, and the Serrano. We, the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside, light the sacred flame as the stewards of this sacred and holy space. We are blessed with a space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Today's reading of the Chalice lighting is a communion of heart and soul by Ruth Southworth. For the gift of this day and for our community of spiritual nurture and compassion, we give thanks. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. May our many sparks meet and merge in communion of heart and soul. Thank you, Bill. Now I'd like to introduce Tinka Friend, who will be leading our flower communion service.
Good morning, everyone. The flower communion service was created by Norbert Capek, who founded the Unitarian Church in Czechoslovakia. And I want to let you know that the Unitarian Church in Prague, in Czechoslovakia, when he created it, it had grown so that just before World War II, it was the largest Unitarian church in the entire world. It had thousands upon thousands of members. He introduced the special service to that church on June 4th, 1923. For some time, he had felt the need for some symbolic ritual that would bind people more closely together. The format had to be one that would not alienate any who had forsaken other religious traditions. The traditional Christian communion service with bread and wine was unacceptable to the members of his congregation because of their strong reaction against the Catholic faith. So he turned to the native beauty of their countryside for elements of a communion which would be genuine to them. This simple service was the result. It was such a success that it was held yearly just before the summer session of the church. The flower communion was then brought to the United States in 1940 and introduced to the members of our Cambridge, Massachusetts church by Reverend Dr. Capek's wife, Maya V. Capek. The Czech-born Maya had met Norbert Capek in New York City while he was studying for his PhD. It was at her urging that Norbert left the Baptist ministry and turned to Unitarianism. The Capeks returned to Czechoslovakia in 1921 and established this dynamic liberal church in Prague. Maya was ordained in 1926. It was during her tour of the United States that Maya introduced the flower communion, which had been developed at the Prague church. And she introduced this ritual to the Unitarian Church in Cambridge. Unfortunately, Maya was unable to return back to Prague and to her husband and to her congregation due to the outbreak of World War II. And it was not until the war was over that Norbert Capek's death, which had occurred in a Nazi concentration camp, was revealed. From this beginning, the service has spread to many of our Unitarian Universalist congregations and has been adapted by each church or each congregation along the way. People in Prague, people were asked to bring a flower of their choice, either from their own gardens or from the field or even on the roadside as they were walking to church. When they arrived at church, there was a very large vase that stood in the vestibule. And it was attended by 2 young members of the church school. Each person was asked to place their own flower in the vase, and this signified that by their own free will, they were joining in with all of the people there at the church. The vase that contained all the flowers was a symbol of the United Church Fellowship. The young attendants helped with the arrangement of the bouquet, and then later they carried the vase to the front of the auditorium or the sanctuary and placed it on a table there. Reverend Capek said that would then say a prayer, like a blessing on these flowers, after which he walked over and consecrated the flowers while the congregation stood. The two attendants then took the vase back out into the vestibule. After the service, as people left the church, they went by the vase, and each of them took a flower from the vase, but it had to be one different than the one they brought. The significance of the flower communion is that no two flowers are alike, and so no two people are alike. And yet, each has a valuable contribution to make. Together, the different flowers form a beautiful bouquet. Our common bouquet would not be the same without the unique addition of each individual flower and each individual person. And thus it is with our church community. It would not be the same without each and every one of us. Thus, the service is a statement of our connectedness in the community. By exchanging flowers, we show our willingness to walk together in our search for truth, disregarding all that might divide us. Each person takes home a flower brought by someone else, thus symbolizing our shared celebration in community. This community of sharing is essential to a free people in a free religion.
Thank you, Tinka. I've always loved the flower communion, and I led one about many years ago, but I never knew its origins coming from Czechoslovakia, so this was really interesting. So we have a tradition that you use, Sarah, to welcome those who are visitors and perhaps returning after some time away. We know it can be uncomfortable to stand up and speak in front of others. And so I will now ask for a volunteer from someone who has been here a while to tell us your name and how you found out about our church. We ask you to step close to the mic and speak into it directly and clearly so everyone can hear. And not everyone's uncomfortable with standing and speaking in front of someone, so I'm asking for a volunteer. Yeah, come on up.
Hi, good morning. My name is Alec, and I have been a lifelong UU, but I found the church when I moved here, and I was just looking for churches in the area, and this was, I thought the website looked really nice, really nicely put together, and I thought that was a really nice resource. And so I was really excited to fill that out, the visitor form, and when I arrived here, I was happy to see it, although it is very different in some ways than the churches that I've experienced, other UU churches in the past. But I have been really happy finding a community here.
Thank you, Alec. Thank you for stepping up. Last month, I volunteered myself to do that, but you don't want to hear me do that every month, so good that we're getting other people. So that's how it's done. And if you're new here, a visitor or an old friend, please raise your hand and stand and come up to the mic in front of our pulpit. Or if there's someone online who would like to introduce themselves, please raise your hand using the Zoom raise hand function, and we'll call on you by Zoom. Please let us know who you are, where you're from, and how you found out about us. So anyone here that would like to come up? No pressure, but if you feel so moved. I see some people thinking about it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm here with my husband, Weston.
Yeah, get closer.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm here with my husband, Weston. We found out from the church. My husband found out about it, and he invited me here today. And we watched online last week, so we knew about the flower communion.
Yeah, I'm a teacher at Mission Middle School in Harupa, so I get off on this exit a lot, and I saw the church. I looked into it, open with spirituality, so yeah, I like to explore a lot of different options, and I just really liked the message last week and like the vibe from the community.
Thank you and welcome. And so we have some more new people. This is great.
Hello. Yeah, my name's Hakan, and My wife and I, Myra, were coming kind of off and on before the pandemic, but obviously after the pandemic, we kind of, stopped coming like altogether. I've been doing social work, justice work for a while, actually. I work with Adam, and I'm agnostic, but I still, love the community that churches bring. So I've wanted to come and expect to continue to come.
Hi, everyone. My name is Myra, and as my husband said, we kind of used to come here off and on, but I am glad to be back. We're both glad to be back, and it's just such a great community, so open, and that's what I love about coming here. So we're happy to be back. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome. We're looking forward to getting to know all of you better. Anyone else out here? And is there anyone on Zoom? Okay, well, for anyone else, and for all of you too, following the service today will be our first Sunday luncheon, and we hope you'll join us for time for socializing and coffee hour also. We love to chat with you out in the parish hall, where you can also find our visitors book. Please leave your name before you leave so that we know you are here, and leave your contact information if you want to know about upcoming events. For those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. Now, there are a few announcements we'd like to share. During the service, we'll mention several websites, email addresses, and phone numbers. At the end of the service, we'll leave up a slide with all the information, and it is available on our website, so don't feel like you have to write it down or memorize it right now. The monthly UUCR newsletter comes out the first of every month by email and per request by postal mail, aka snail mail. If you have something newsworthy or that we would like to contribute, email uuchurchofriverside.calendar@gmail.com or call the church office at area code 951-656-6515. If you would like to be added to our mailing list, please contact the church office. So here's some announcements. Next weekend, May 6th and 7th, is our semi-annual yard sale. If you're able to help out, please sign up. Help is especially needed to set up Friday morning at 6 a.m. and to pack up on Saturday at 3. Many hands make light work. Please see Avery, Kate, or Linda. Avery, Kate, or Linda, are you in here? You want to just raise your hand so people know who you are, new people? Okay. The first Sunday luncheon will be held in the parish hall after today's service. Join us this month for tacos and Hispanic favorites and some casual socializing. Donations are welcome as you're willing and able. CURE, the Concerned Youths of Riverside, the community outreach arm of the Social and Environmental Justice Committee, will be meeting in the Social Justice Room on the second floor of the annex next door at 12 noon, though maybe not at 12 noon because we may not be done with the, but anyway, after the luncheon. You can find more information on the website under Social and Environmental Justice. So here's our joys and concerns. It is said that shared joy is a double joy. Shared sorrow is half sorrow. So on the first Sunday of each month, we share the joys and concerns that we have received from you and which you have collected throughout the month. First, I'm going to read the joys and concerns which were given to us. Okay, I'm not saying anything here, but does anyone here have any joys or concerns to bring up? Oh, okay. There aren't any, okay. Yeah, people don't usually write them down. They come up and, yeah, please.
I have a little bit of a bitter joy in that I was accepted to summer school. So that's really exciting, but it's not exactly a normal summer school. This is for my PhD program. So I'm going to be going and giving a presentation on quantum chromodynamics, which sounds very fancy. And it actually is kind of, but it'll actually be pretty exciting. And so I'm actually fairly excited to go.
Cool.
If I get a little misty here, please forgive me. But Joanne Green had flashed me something that I saw, and I'm not very good with my hands. I only get to hang out with primates because I pay the membership dues. But I saw something in Facebook. There was a little boy whose regular connection with going to the hospital, getting himself a walker, was momentarily fouled up. So they were looking at snapping together something, a jury rig version of it. You know, getting him something, right? It was a snap together thing, PVC pipe. It looked pretty easy to make. And I looked at that thing and said, you know, after all this monstrosity going on in the Ukraine, there's going to be a lot of people in walkers. There's going to be a lot of people who don't even have a place to lay their head. And Bill Rowe told me about a man who has a possibility of sort of a cardboard snap together reinforcement to just lying there with a bedroll on. This thing for people who are in walkers, and you know, we have our own share of people with distance troubles. I'm going to try and dig into this a bit more. The original people who did it were at a Home Depot. And if we were to get together a whole batch of PVC, a lot of tape, the world is held together by the duct tape anyway, so you might as well formalize it. And figure out what the directions are to snap this stuff together. We could do some good in the world right now. Even as small as this congregation is, we could do some good in the world. Now, I don't have all the details yet, but I'm going to dig and see what I can do and aim it towards people far more competent than I am, and maybe we can do some good. So my joy and my sorrow come from the same roots. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bill. Nick.
Nick Williams. I am a Universalist Unitarian, and I had back surgery in December 2nd. My recovery has been going very well. I'm really pleased with it, and I'm back getting out and walking and doing physical therapy. Also, I'm diabetic, and over the past 5 years, I've gotten rid of 100 pounds. I say get rid of because if you lose it, you find things you lose. So, yeah, that was a joke. So, my diabetic nurse has gotten me involved with a new drug that they have that helps with keeping your blood sugar numbers lower and helps you to lose weight. And since I started on it about 8 weeks ago, I'm down about 15 pounds to 206 from 220. So I'm feeling really good. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. I have a little bit of the joy myself. For the past 2 weeks, I was stuck in bed with a severe inflammatory attack, and as of yesterday, I'm back on my feet. It's subsided, and so I'm expressing joy and gratitude for renewed health. Okay.
And as many of you know, Nick and I were in a car accident in March, so about maybe 6 weeks ago or so, and our car was totaled. And so we have been trying to find a replacement car. And I can tell you in this time of what's going on in our economy and everything, it's like there's no inventory out there. There's no, I mean, even used. So we have been having to go to like 3 or 4 other cities around looking at what they have. But it looks like we may be narrowing it down. So I'm hoping that by next month, if we're here for Joys and Concerns, I can say that we actually have a car.
Thank you. Is anyone else? Oh, Grace.
So what's been hitting me recently is how much I subconsciously didn't realize how much I've missed a lot of the simple things that we had lost during the pandemic. So even something as simple as like going to a movie or in a parking lot, seeing all the cars and the people outside and having, you know, diners outside, all these things are so, they bring joy. And so I'm happy about that. And then in honor of the flower communion, I found this quote, and it made me think of the Ukraine and all the things that are going on in the world. It's by a poet named Aberjani, and it says, "In a rich moonlit garden, flowers open beneath the eyes of entire nations, terrified to acknowledge the simplicity of the beauty of peace."
Thank you. Okay, anyone else?
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Amy Hall, and I started coming to this really cool church about 4 weeks ago. Tinka and Nick are friends of mine, and I'm learning what it's like to be a good friend as well. So that's really cool. And then I was going to tell you folks that, you know, in the big picture, sometimes you get lost in trying to see the big picture because you're so scattered and worried, trying to make everything fit just the way you want it to happen into your life. And I really believed that I had an opportunity, and I took that opportunity, and then another opportunity presented itself. And then I went, now what? And I was given a choice yesterday to choose between going back to, you know, a different city with a job that I loved before the pandemic, and I still love, and I'm dying to go back there, and I will in a year from now. But right now, my place is going to be over in this city, and then 3 months after I'm there, and I've established myself with this new position, this new job, this new kind of life, I guess, lifestyle, then I'm going to move back to Riverside, and then finish out the remainder of the year, and then move back to the city that my heart's dying to go back to. So I know it sounds like a lengthy explanation, but in that big picture, I forgot to be grateful for some things that were really, really important, more important than the decision I had to make, you know, or the, you know, the calculating of, you know, all the pros and cons of what happens if I stay here and go there, and just all that got caught up in my head. And so I'm just really like grateful, I guess, is my joy, gratitude, because I do have real friends in my life. I do have an amazing opportunity that's laying out in front of me, up ahead of me. And I'm ready for the next chapter in my life, the next big adventure, because you know, you can never have enough adventures, right? And that's it. So my joy is gratitude.
Thank you. Yeah, gratitude is definitely very, very, very powerful. Anyone else? Okay, come on up.
I am grateful to, I am a bit concerned that while I do not know much about myself. I am grateful, however, to have a place where I can learn more about myself, and how this place, because it's so accepting, will allow me to find out more, and even what type of God I truly believe in. And this is an amazing church, and I'm grateful to be here. Thanks.
Thank you for being here. Yes, I have been director of religious education, and our basic philosophy of UU religious education with children, and this applies to adults as well, is not to teach anything, but to explore self-discovery and just exploration, and encourage curiosity. So I like to say you're in the right place. Thank you. So anyone else? Thank you all of you for coming up here, because it's through, really, this is how we get to know each other, by coming up and sharing. We place a stone or a water chalice to represent the joys and concerns we have shared with our church community, and in recognition of those we hold close and have not shared. And if there's any joys or concerns you have not shared, please hold that in your hearts right now.
Rough, because the stone is rough, because there's some rough times in the world. Times when we don't know how, where, or if we make it. Smooth, for those rare occasions in life where things are beautiful, friction-free, corner properly, and look pretty, just coming right off the head. And mix for stuff where we really just can't figure out whether we're being blessed or kicked in the shins. And for those of you who've spoken, thank you. For those of you who didn't, thank you.
And thank you, Bill. May we remember those who have spoken, those they have named, and those we hold in silence in our hearts. Our next hymn now is number 121, We'll Build a Land, from the gray hymnal, which you'll find in front of you. If you are in the sanctuary, we can sing as the Spirit moves us with our masks on. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 121, We'll Build a Land.
We'll build a land where we bind up the broken,
Thank you, and thank you, Tinka. Now, I don't read sign language despite efforts to learn, but I always love watching Tinka because she's so expressive, and you can see that it's coming from the heart and soul. Thank you. In this portion of our service is to support our beloved historical church. This can be accomplished several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may send your checks to the church address, which is shown here. You may contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is on the church website and also in the newsletter. Stater Brothers Markets gives our church a rebate on Stater's grocery cards, which we will have in the church each Sunday. You get the full value, and the church also receives a percentage. Amazon cards are also available. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. Thank you for your generosity and for those who give of their time and their talent. And those of you in this room, you know who you are that give so much to this church. And thank you for your generous care and attention. Will our ushers now please come forward to receive our collection? Thank you, everyone. Our next hymn is from You I Receive from the Great Hymnal. If you're in the sanctuary, we can sing as the Spirit moves us with our masks on. And I hope that those of you who are watching us in the Zoom service are also at home singing along with us. Please stand in body and spirit and join us in singing hymn number 402. Thank you. Tinka, don't go away. Tinka will be leading us in our responsive reading for the Flower Communion.
And this is called a flower communion for colleagues. There will be a brightness to this day, even if there be but cloud and rain outdoors. Brightness of this day comes from within. There will color and fragrance to this day, even if there be but gray and chill outdoors. There will be praise and laughter to this day, even if there be but difficulty elsewhere in the world. Let there be brightness. Today, let there be praise and laughter. Flowers of the Spirit blooming, be with us. And with, if you'll join us in the meditation, in your form yourself, your spirit. Children of the earth and sky, we are nurtured, sustained, given warmth and light from above. Supported by earth's strong, firm crust, we build our homes, till the fields, plant our gardens and our orchards. When we turn from self and seek to be aware, we will find holy light in human faces, in blossoms, birdsong, and sky. Then earth is truly our home, and we are one with all earth's creatures, parents of earth's children yet to be. Let us pause now for a moment of silence. As I shared with you a little earlier in the service, some of the history of Reverend Dr. Norbert Capek and the creation of the flower communion, I will expand just a little bit more. The Unitarian Universalist Flower Communion service, which we are about to celebrate, as I said, was created in 1923 by Reverend Dr. Norbert Capek, founder of the modern Unitarian movement in Czechoslovakia. On the last day before the summer recess of the Unitarian Church in Prague, all the children and adults participated in this colorful ritual, which gives concrete expression to the humanity-affirming principles of our liberal faith. When the Nazis took control of Prague in 1940, they found Dr. Capek's gospel of the inherent worth and beauty of every human being to be, as a Nazi court record showed, quote, too dangerous for the Reich for him to be allowed to live. Dr. Capek was sent to Dachau, where he was killed the following year during a Nazi medical experiment. This gentle man suffered a cruel death. But his message of human hope and decency lives on through his flower communion. And I always keep that in my heart every time I'm in a UU church in which I am participating in the flower communion. And this communion is widely celebrated today, not just in the United States, but throughout the world for other Unitarian and Universalist churches. It is a noble and meaning-filled ritual that we are about to recreate. This service includes the original prayers, or two prayers that Dr. Capek helped us to remember the principles and the dreams for which he died. So this is the first prayer. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessings on these thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship. But may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the effort of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. I think you can see why the Nazis thought that was dangerous at that time, given what they wanted. It is now time for us to share in the flower communion. I would like to, first of all, is there anybody online? Do we have any visitors online at all? Okay. In putting the altar together, members of the worship committee, when we brought the flowers and put them in there, and they're specifically diverse intentionally, as are all of us diverse. When each one was placed into the container, into the vessel, a prayer, a blessing, a hope was bestowed upon that flower. Some of the ones that we put on there were unity, open-mindedness, financial security, hope, gratitude, things like that. So I just want you to know that there are numerous blessings attached to these flowers. And since our members or our visitors at home won't be able to receive a flower, I wanted to give them, if anyone wanted to, an opportunity if they wanted to put a blessing forward for the flowers as well. So if you would like to put out there a blessing for our flowers before we share them, please let Adam know. Kaylin, can you speak?
Hello, can you hear me?
Thank you.
I'd like to give the blessing of health, of good health.
Thank you so much. Good health. Is that all, Adam? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Kaylin, for honoring us and participating with us on the blessings. Yes, if you want to.
Adaptability. I spoke earlier about how the world was held together with duct tape. It didn't necessarily mean I'm the guy that's that good with the duct tape. These times have tested us. May we move into the spaces where we realize just what we can do and how to get there.
Thank you, Bill. So it is now time for us to share in the flower communion. And I ask that as each of you in turn approach the communion vase, and we'll probably keep the line coming up here so you can line up on this side, take your flowers, and then go on out that side. My little sense of crowd control, I guess, smoothness. So you'll come forward. Please do so quietly, reverently, with a sense of how important it is for each of us to address our world and to address one another with gentleness, with justice, and with love. So I ask that you select a flower that particularly speaks to you. If you had brought one and you placed it in there, please choose one that you did not bring. As you take your chosen flower, noting its particular shape and beauty, please remember to handle it carefully. It is a gift that someone else has brought to you this morning. It represents that person's unique humanity and therefore deserves your kindest touch. So let us share quietly in this Unitarian Universalist ritual of oneness and love. And I might say, if you find one particularly appealing and you go to take it and it doesn't pull out easily, maybe that one's not for you. Maybe you should go to another one. So those of you who would like to, would you please come in from this side right here, come forth, take your flower, and then sit back in your pews, please. They don't want to be separated, take them both. Now I ask that you just sit quietly for a moment. See if you can discern what blessing was attached to your flower. What comes to your mind? And I hope you received a blessing that is needed right now in your life. We had one reading, like I said, the blessing from Reverend Dr. Norbert Capek. There's a second one, and this is in our hymnal, as a matter of fact. I'm going to read it to you. In the name of providence, which implants in the seed the future of the flower, and in our hearts the longing for people to live in harmony. In the name of the highest, in whom we move and who makes the mother and the father, the brother and sister, lover and loner what they are. In the name of sages and great religious leaders who sacrificed their lives to hasten the coming of mutual respect. In their names, let us renew our resolution, sincerely to be real brothers and sisters, regardless of any kind of bar which estranges us from each other. In this holy resolve, may we be strengthened, knowing that we are God's family, that one Spirit, the Spirit of love, unites us. And may we endeavor for a perfect and more joyful life. Amen.
Our closing hymn is Mother Spirit, Father Spirit from the Gray Hymnal. This is one of 3 songs in our hymnal by Reverend Norbert Capek. For those of us in the sanctuary, we can sing as the Spirit moves us with our masks on, and you know the drill. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 8, written by Reverend Norbert Capek, the originator of this beautiful flower communion.
Mother Spirit, Father Spirit, where are you? In the sky song, in the forest sounds your cry. What to give you, what to call you, what am I? Many drops are in the ocean deep and wide. Sunlight bounces off the ripples to the sky. What to give you, what to call you, who am I am empty, time flies from me, what is time? Dreams eternal, fears infernal haunt my heart. What to give you, what to call you, oh my God. Mother Spirit, Father Spirit, take our hearts, take our breath and let our voices sing our parts. Take our hands and let us work to shape our art.
Before I read the communion closing, I also want to let you know that for those of you who are staying for our luncheon, we have put vases of water on the table so that to keep your flowers fresh, you can put them in there as you eat, and then you can take them with you as you go when you leave. It is worthwhile to live and fight courageously for sacred ideals. Oh, blow ye evil winds into my body's fire. My soul you will never unravel. Even though disappointed 1,000 times or fallen in the fight and everything would seem worthless, I have lived amidst eternity. Be grateful, my soul. My life was worth living. He who was pressed from all sides but remains victorious in spirit is welcomed into the choir of heroes. He who overcame the fetters giving wings to the mind is entering into the golden age of the victorious. Namaste, amen, and blessed be.
Thank you. I'd like to personally express my appreciation for Dr. Norbert Capek for, being such a hero in our history and all that he's given us, because I didn't know anything about him until today. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your valuable time and insights into each other in this beloved community. It is sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you again.